In every negotiation, the person who smiles first loses leverage. You think your warmth builds rapport, but it actually signals desperation. Machiavelli knew that an unreadable face is a fortress. Today, we master the dead face technique to force your opponent to bid against themselves. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you walked into a high-stakes conversation and felt your face betray you? Your boss asks if you're happy with your salary. You smile nervously before you even answer. The car salesman quotes you a price. You flinch just a little, and he sees it. Your face is a telegram system broadcasting your internal state to everyone watching. And in the world of negotiation, power dynamics, and influence, that telegraph is getting you destroyed. If you're ready to stop giving away free leverage every time you open your mouth, smash that like button and subscribe. We're building an army of people who refuse to be read, and every like tells YouTube to spread this to someone who needs it. You're about to become one of them. Niccolo Machiavelli understood something most people spend their entire lives missing. Control the face, control the game. In The Prince, he wrote about the necessity of appearing one way while being another. But there's a deeper layer here. It's not just about deception. It's about withholding information. When you give someone a blank slate, they project their fears onto it. When you refuse to react, they assume the worst. And when they assume the worst, they start offering you more just to get you to crack. Today, we're going to break down the dead face tactic, a Machiavellian tool that turns your expression into a weapon. We'll cover why you smile when you shouldn't, how to build an unreadable neutral face, the power of the prolonged stare, and how silence can make people negotiate against themselves. By the end of this video, you'll understand how to become the most unsettling person in any room, not through aggression, but through absolute control. 1. Why you grin when uncomfortable. Let's start with the most common self-sabotage move in human interaction, the nervous smile. You're in a tense conversation. Someone criticizes you. Someone makes an unreasonable demand. Someone lowballs you on a deal. And what do? You smile. Not because you're happy, not because you agree, but because your nervous system is trying to diffuse the tension. This is a primal response. Smiling is a submissive gesture in many social contexts. It signals, I'm not a threat, please don't hurt me. When early humans encountered a stronger rival, the one who smiled was the one who backed down. That instinct is still hardwired into you. But here's the problem. In a negotiation, a smile is read as weakness. It tells the other person, I'm uncomfortable with this conflict, and I want it to end. And when they see that, they know they can push harder. Think about this. A defense attorney doesn't smile when the prosecutor presents evidence. A chess grandmaster doesn't grin when their opponent makes a strong move. A surgeon doesn't beam with warmth when delivering bad news. Why? Because the situation doesn't call for reassurance. It calls for authority. When you smile in a high-stakes moment, you're doing the other person's job for them. You're relieving their anxiety. You're making them feel comfortable. And comfort is the enemy of leverage. Machiavelli would tell you, never make your opponent comfortable unless it serves you. If you smile, it should be calculated. It should be a tool, not a reflex. The moment your face starts working against you, you've already lost. So the first step in the dead face tactic is simple. Catch yourself. Notice when you smile out of nervousness. Notice when you grin to fill awkward silence. Notice when your face gives away your hand. And then stop. 2. The blank canvas. Training the neutral resting face. Now that you understand why the nervous smile kills your authority, let's talk about what replaces it, the blank canvas. Right now, as you're watching this, I want you to stop and go to a mirror. Seriously. Pause the video if you need to. Go look at yourself. Now, relax your face completely. Don't smile, don't frown. Just let every muscle go slack. Look at yourself. What do you see? If you look angry, good, you're doing it right. Here's the thing, a truly neutral face reads as slightly hostile to most people. That's because we're so conditioned to see friendliness, warmth, and agreeability that the absence of those things feels like rejection. When you give someone a blank face, their brain fills in the gaps, usually with something negative, and that's exactly what you want. The dead face isn't about scowling or glaring. It's about neutrality. You're not projecting aggression. You're projecting nothing. And in that void, the other person's insecurities start to grow. Training your neutral face takes practice. Most people have a default expression shaped by years of social conditioning. Women, especially, are taught to smile constantly, to appear approachable. Men are taught to look friendly, to avoid seeming threatening. These are social survival strategies, but in a negotiation, they're liabilities. Here's how you train it. Every day, spend 5 minutes in front of a mirror practicing your neutral face. Relax your forehead, unclench your jaw. Let your mouth rest without turning up or down. Your eyes should be calm, not wide with surprise or squinted with suspicion. Just calm. At first it will feel unnatural. You'll think you look mean or cold. That's your social programming talking. Ignore it. What you're building is a poker face, and a good poker face looks like absolutely nothing. Once you've practiced in the mirror, start using it in low-stakes interactions. The cashier at the grocery store, the person asking for your email at the mall kiosk. Don't smile reflexively. Just stay neutral. Watch how people react. They'll try harder to win you over. They'll become more deferential. They'll assume you're someone important. This is the power of the blank canvas. You're no longer giving people the emotional feedback they expect. And when they don't get it, they start working to earn it. 3. The 4-second stare. Holding eye contact past comfort. Now let's add a weapon to your arsenal, the prolonged stare. Most people hold eye contact for about 1 to 2 seconds before looking away. It's polite, it's comfortable, it's weak. In the dead face technique, you hold eye contact for at least 4 seconds, sometimes longer. You don't blink excessively. You don't dart your eyes around the room. You lock in and stay locked in. Why does this work? Because extended eye contact triggers a primal response. In the animal kingdom, a prolonged stare is either a mating signal or a threat display. Either way, it's intense. When you hold someone's gaze past the point of comfort, their brain starts firing alarm bells. They feel exposed, they feel vulnerable, and most importantly, they feel like you're evaluating them. This creates psychological pressure. The other person starts to wonder, what is he thinking? Does he believe me? Is he about to reject my offer? All of that uncertainty works in your favor. Here's the key. Your stare should not be aggressive. You're not trying to intimidate through anger. You're creating discomfort through stillness. Your eyes should be calm, almost curious, as if you're studying a specimen under a microscope. Let's say you're negotiating a salary. The hiring manager says, "We can offer you $75,000. Most people respond immediately, "Oh, that's great, thank you." Or, "I was hoping for more." Both of those reactions give away your position. Instead, you hold their gaze. 4 seconds, 5 seconds. You say nothing. Your face remains neutral. And in that silence, they start to panic. He's not happy. I need to do better. And then they start negotiating against themselves. Of course, there's room for discussion depending on your experience. You didn't say a word. You didn't make a demand. You just refused to give them the comfort of a quick response. Practice this in everyday conversations. When someone asks you a question, pause for 4 seconds before answering. Hold their eyes. Watch how they squirm. Watch how they start filling the silence for you. This is training you to be comfortable in discomfort, which is the essence of power. 4. Withholding affirmation. Here's a habit you probably don't even notice you're doing: nodding while people talk. It's automatic. Someone is explaining something to you, and your head starts bobbing up and down like a dashboard ornament. You think you're being a good listener. You think you're showing engagement. But what you're actually doing is giving away free validation. Every time you nod, you're signaling agreement. You're saying, yes, I accept what you're saying. Keep going. And in a negotiation, that's a gift you can't afford to give. Machiavelli understood the power of withholding. When you make someone work for your approval, that approval becomes more valuable. When you hand it out freely, it becomes worthless. So here's the rule. Stop nodding. When someone is pitching you, explaining their position, or trying to justify something, your head stays still. Your face stays neutral. You give them nothing. This creates cognitive dissonance. The other person is used to getting feedback. When they don't get it, they assume something is wrong. He's not nodding. Does that mean he disagrees? Should I explain more? Should I offer something better? And so they do. They start over-explaining. They start justifying. They start sweetening the deal, all because you refuse to give them the simple reassurance of a nod. Let's say you're listening to a contractor explain why a home repair will cost $5,000. Normally, you might nod along as they break down labor and materials, signaling that you understand and accept their reasoning. But if you sit there, stone-faced, saying nothing, nodding at nothing, they'll start to doubt themselves. Maybe $5,000 is too high. Maybe I should mention the discount I can offer. You haven't argued, you haven't negotiated, you've just refused to affirm, and that refusal has done all the work for you. This doesn't mean you never nod, but when you do, it should be deliberate. A single slow nod at a key moment carries far more weight than constant bobblehead agreement. Use it sparingly and use it strategically. Now, if you're still watching and you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Because what's coming next? The verbal void and the walk away. These are the techniques that separate amateurs from operators. And I only want operators in this community. Subscribe if you're serious about this. 5. The verbal void. Now we arrive at the most powerful weapon in the dead-face arsenal: silence. The human brain is wired to fear silence. In conversation, silence feels like rejection. It feels like disapproval. It feels like something has gone wrong, and so people will do almost anything to fill it. When someone makes you an offer and you respond with silence, you create a vacuum. And nature abhors a vacuum. The other person will rush to fill it, usually with a better offer, more information, or a concession. This is the verbal void technique. You let their words hang in the air, unanswered. You don't agree. You don't disagree. You just sit there, neutral-faced, and wait. Let's run a scenario. You're selling a car. A buyer offers you $8,000. Most sellers respond immediately. I was hoping for $10,000. Or, let me think about it. But both of those responses close the negotiation loop. You've given them information. You've given them a target. Instead, you say nothing. You look at them. You wait. And after 5, 10, 15 seconds of unbearable silence, they crack. I mean, I could maybe go up to $8,500 if the car is in good shape. You still say nothing. Okay, $9,000. That's my absolute max. You've just extracted an extra $1,000 without saying a single word. That's the power of the verbal void. The reason this works is because silence feels like rejection. When you don't immediately accept their offer, their brain assumes you're unhappy with it. And rather than risk losing the deal entirely, they start bidding against themselves. Here's the key. You have to be comfortable with discomfort. Most people panic in silence. They feel the pressure to speak, to smooth things over, to keep the conversation moving. You have to train yourself to enjoy the silence. Think of it as a pressure chamber. The longer you let it build, the more the other person will give you to release it. In practice, this means counting in your head. After someone makes an offer, count to 10 before you respond. If they fill the silence with a better offer, reset the count. Keep doing this until they've squeezed out every concession they're willing to make. Then, and only then, do you speak. This technique works in salary negotiations, business deals, personal conflicts, anywhere someone is trying to get something from you. Silence is your leverage. Use it. 6. Physically. Leaning back. The final piece of the dead face technique is the physical walk-away signal. In negotiation, the person who is willing to walk away has all the power. But here's the secret. You don't actually have to walk away. You just have to make them believe you will. This is where body language comes in. When someone makes an offer you're not satisfied with, you physically lean back. You break eye contact and look toward the door. You close your notebook or put your phone in your pocket. All of these are subconscious signals that say, I'm done here. The other person's brain picks up on these cues immediately. Wait, he's leaving. I'm losing him. I need to stop this. And so they scramble to make a better offer. This works because humans are loss-averse. We fear losing something more than we desire gaining something. When you signal that you're about to walk away, you're not just removing a potential gain from them. You're threatening them with a loss. And loss hurts. Let's say you're negotiating a freelance contract. The client offers you $2,000 for a project. You stay silent. They bump it to $2,500. You lean back in your chair, glance at your watch, and say, I appreciate the offer, but I don't think this is the right fit. You stand up, as if preparing to leave. Watch what happens. Wait, let me talk to my manager. I think we can go higher. You didn't threaten them. You didn't argue. You just demonstrated that you're willing to walk. And that willingness gave you leverage. The walkaway doesn't always have to be physical. In an email negotiation, it can be a delayed response. In a phone call, it can be a long pause followed by, I'll have to think about it. The principle is the same. You're signaling that you're not desperate, and desperation is the enemy of good deals. Machiavelli knew this. In The Prince, he wrote about the importance of appearing indifferent to outcomes. When you seem too eager, you lose respect. When you seem indifferent, you gain it. The walkaway is the ultimate expression of indifference. So let's bring it all together. The dead face technique is not about being cruel or manipulative. It's about controlling the information you give away. In a world where everyone is broadcasting their emotions, the person who reveals nothing has the advantage. Stop smiling out of nervousness. Train your neutral face until it becomes second nature. Hold eye contact past the point of comfort. Refuse to nod and affirm automatically. Respond to offers with silence, and signal your willingness to walk away. These are not tricks, they're disciplines, and like all disciplines, they require practice. Start small. Use them in low-stakes situations. Build your comfort with discomfort. And over time, you'll find that people start giving you more, offering more, and conceding more, simply because you refused to give them the emotional validation they crave. Machiavelli understood that power is not about force. It's about perception, and the dead face controls perception. If this resonated with you, subscribe to build your poker face. And remember, the person who needs the deal least wins.